Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and in this video, I'm going to be covering social skills secrets that make you more attractive. Believe it or not, there are a lot of us who struggle with being social or struggle in social situations. And while I don't want you guys to be so preoccupied with the way that you're coming across to other people or be a people pleaser, I do think that just knowing these things can help put you at ease a little bit and help make sure that you're on the right track. So let's get started. My first tip here is that to be interesting, you must first be interested. Being genuinely curious and interested and asking questions not only makes you come across in a better light to the person that you're talking to, but it also makes that other person feel seen, valued, and heard. And that's great. I think it's a wonderful skill to be able to make another person feel that way. But also, when someone walks away from a conversation feeling like that, they typically feel better about you too. A common misconception about people who are socially successful is that they have all these wonderful, amazing things to share about themselves, or that they're so interesting and they just have a plethora of things to share. And while that can be a trait of a great conversationalist, the true success lies in being able to make someone else feel heard. I believe that this is incredibly powerful, and again, not even to come across a certain way or to be more attractive, but just to make people feel good. It also makes the conversation a lot better too, because you're actually interested in what that other person is saying to you, and the conversation just ends up being a lot better because of that. And I'm actually going to go over some ways to show that you're engaged and interested and attentive later in the video, so be sure to stick around for that. Something that you should all be interested in is making sure that you're prioritizing your health. And that's why I'm so excited that today's video is sponsored by Ritual. The new year is a time to recommit yourself to your daily wellness goals. Start the new year off on the right foot with the support of traceable, high-quality, science-backed products you can trust. Some nutrients are hard to get enough of from food alone. Essential for Men is the scientifically developed multivitamin to help fill nutrient gaps in men's diets. Ritual has a team of industry-leading scientists and skeptics who were done with the BS, shady additives, synthetic fillers, even excess nutrients that most of us don't actually need. Ritual shows you every labeled ingredient, supplier, and key studies that go into the vegan-friendly multivitamin. Essential for Men is formulated with 10 key nutrients to help support men's health, including heart, brain, muscle, and immune support. Its formulation includes key, high-quality ingredients in bioavailable forms, all in a delayed-release capsule designed to be gentle on an empty stomach. You could label Ritual obsessive. Like all Ritual products, Essential for Men is soy-free, gluten-free, and formulated with non-GMO ingredients. This subscription service supports you, giving you the flexibility you want and the consistency you need. If for some crazy reason you don't love Ritual within 30 days, your first order is on them. Go to ritual.com/CourtneyR30 or click the link down in the description box and use my code CourtneyR30 to get 30% off of your first month of Ritual. My next social skill secret is to use metaphors and storytelling. This is an easy trick that helps keep people engaged and interested. Think about how you can connect with your audience, so whoever you're speaking to. When it comes to storytelling, you might have the same story and you kind of tweak it a little bit depending on who you're talking to. You're not lying, you're just telling different parts of the story that would interest the person you're talking about to keep them more interested and engaged in what you're saying. For example, if I'm telling a story about vacation and I'm telling my best friend and my mom, I might tell my mom certain things that I don't tell my friend, and vice versa, that they would both each be interested in. Using metaphors is a great one, and this is something I've noticed that a lot of people who I like listening to do. And they do it well. If someone is explaining something to you that's a little bit out of your wheelhouse, but they bring it back down to earth a little bit and give you an example or a metaphor that resonates with you that you can better understand, it obviously helps, and it helps keep people engaged and listening to what you're saying too, because they aren't off in la la land thinking, what the heck is this lady saying? So not only does this help people better understand what you're trying to say, but it also shows that you care and want them to understand what you're saying. And I found this little excerpt that I wanted to share with you. It says, "The most charismatic people in a room are those who speak metaphorically, providing substance to a conversation through exemplary use of anecdotes and comparisons. They aren't recounting events, but paraphrasing action while using facial gestures, energetic body language, and vocal inflections to frame key points. They're experts at using moral conviction and reflections of group sentiment, as well as employing questions, even rhetorical ones, that keep people engaged. In short, they just tell a good story." And when I think of all the people who I personally enjoy listening to, whether it be speakers or authors or just watching videos on the internet, it's always people who are relatable. It's always people who explain things in a way that is easier to understand, who provide examples, who compare and, really make it easy for you. Being a good storyteller is such a powerful skill. It's something that I'm personally working on because I gotta be so honest with you, I am not good at telling stories. I'm all over the place. I can't stay in a straight line because I feel the need to explain this and that and everything else, and it gets all jumbled up and messed up. So I'm working on becoming a better storyteller. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because most people are not just born, popping out metaphors left and right and being an amazing storyteller. It's something that you have to practice and work on and become better at. Of course, this might come more naturally to someone else, and maybe you have to work a little bit harder, but in my opinion, I think it's definitely worth it. My next tip is to say their name. Addressing people by their name makes them feel special. Pro tip here, it can also help you remember their name for future interactions, which is obviously super helpful as well. And I'll give you a super simple example just so that you can see the difference here. So say someone was asking for my opinion about something and they said, hey, I need your opinion. I want to know what you think about this. That's fine. That's a totally fine thing to say. It's not rude. It's great. But when you add my name to it, I feel more special, I feel more important, and I feel like you value my opinion. You're not just coming at me and saying, hey, I need your help. There's just something about someone saying your name and adding it to what they're saying that makes you feel more important, makes you feel more valued. It makes you feel, again, like I mentioned earlier in the video, heard, seen, and valued, which is a great thing. And believe it or not, if you think about your social interactions, a lot of the time people don't actually address you because they might know you already, and it's more casual to just be like, hey, can I get your opinion on this? But if someone came up to me instead and added my name to it and said, hey, Courtney, I would really love to get your opinion on this, I automatically have a better feeling about that statement than I do the one without my name. And again, I think it's because it's more personable. You feel more of a connection there when someone addresses you by your name. So I don't want you to be in a conversation and be saying their name every time you ask them something or in every single sentence, but you can say it a couple times throughout the conversation or even once or twice just to, make them feel special. And again, this also really helps you remember their name if it's someone that you just met and you're kind of bad with names. My next point here is to be attentive and listen. Some great ways to show that you are attentive and listening are the following things: making eye contact, actively listening, nod to show that you're listening. You don't want to be going like this the entire time they're talking, but nod every now and then to show that you're acknowledging what they're saying and you're not just like this. You see what I mean? You really want to show interest and be present. The person that you're interacting with is going to pick up on this. I can always tell when I'm talking to someone if they are distracted or actually listening to me. And if they're acting distracted or they're not listening, it doesn't make them come across well at all, ever. And when I say active listening, I mean actually listen to what the other person is saying to you instead of thinking about what you're going to say next. It's okay if you need to take a moment and be thoughtful about your response. A moment of silence is normal. And again, I think so many of us get caught up in thinking about what we're going to say, or like our thoughts are running crazy through our head while someone else is talking, so much so that we don't even actually hear what they're saying. And then you end up repeating yourself a million times or asking the same questions over and over because you weren't actually listening. I cannot tell you how many times I've interacted with people and they ask me the same questions over and over because I know for a fact they didn't listen the first 3 times they asked me. And there's nothing more annoying. I think it's so frustrating. Again, if you have a bad memory or something, that's one thing. But if you're someone I see on the regular and you're consistently asking me the same thing over and over that I've already explained to you a million times, that doesn't come across well. And it will make your conversation so much better when you are genuinely listening and interested in what the other person is saying to you. My next one here is a secret that you will probably not hear anybody else tell you in any video like this from another content creator, because I learned this during sorority recruitment. Listen, I have mixed feelings about being in a sorority, but this is one thing that I'm so glad I learned. When you're talking to new people, you want to figure out what their golden nugget is. And what I mean by that is something that lights them up, something that brings them joy, something that they could just go on and on about and talk about forever and leave that conversation with you feeling amazing about it because they got to talk about their little golden nugget. And when you find someone's golden nugget, normally you'll be able to tell because, again, they will light up, they will talk about it effortlessly, and they just go on and on. Also, people just love to talk about themselves. This is a normal human thing. So chances are they're going to walk away from the conversation with you where they were able to talk about themselves feeling like it was a good one. And right now, you can even take a moment and think about what your golden nugget would be. Something that you love talking about, something that lights you up, something that you could just go on and on about, and that you enjoy talking about or sharing with others in a conversation. My next one here is to give genuine compliments. Now, Captain Obvious point here, don't lie about it. Only give a compliment if it's genuine and you really mean it. But I will say this goes much further than just complimenting the person that you're talking to. You don't even want to overly compliment someone because that comes from a very desperate, people-pleasing, want to be liked place. But it's okay to give one compliment. Oh, I really love your jacket. That's fine. You don't need to say you also love her shoes and her nails and her hair, okay? One thing. But what you can do is say nice things about other people, because this actually leaves a great first impression too. And I think this is really because of the positivity and what this says about you. So instead of being little Mr. Gossip or little Miss Gossip, whoever's watching this, you're coming from a place of being kind about others and lifting others up. And I think that speaks volumes about your character. Someone who is able to be positive and say nice things about people instead of someone who is, again, very gossipy or always saying negative things about people always comes across so much better than that negative Nelly. And I want to share this little thing with you. It says, according to Gretchen Rubin, author of the book The Happiness Project, whatever you say about other people influences how people see you. If you describe someone else as genuine and kind, people will also associate you with those qualities. The reverse is also true. If you are constantly trashing people behind their backs, your friends will start to associate the negative qualities with you as well. Why? Because birds of a feather flock together. And honestly, I realized this when I started doing girl videos on my channel, and all of you thought that every single girl that I bring on in my videos is automatically my friend. Guys, I meet these girls online. I match with them on Tinder to bring them on the show. I meet them on Instagram. I have outreach. I do cold calls. It's a whole process, all right? Most of these girls I've never met in my life until they sit down on this couch. So I understand why people associate, the people you surround yourself with or the things you say about people with you, because often birds of a feather flock together. But again, back to the compliment thing. I think when you're positive and you speak kindly about others, this makes you come across better too. And honestly, putting all of the first impression stuff aside here or how you're coming across, you should be doing this for yourself because it's not healthy to be a negative, pessimistic person who is constantly gossiping and saying horrible things about people. None of you should want to be like that. I don't want to be around people like that. I don't want to be someone like that. And I don't want any of you to be like that either. So work on being more positive. I know sometimes it can be tough, but it's something that we should all be striving for. All right, and my last point here is to be relatable. Stop trying to be perfect. Be authentic and don't be afraid to show your flaws. This makes you more relatable off the bat because, newsflash, nobody is perfect. Being vulnerable and open is how we're able to form deeper connections with people and form meaningful friendships and relationships. And being more relatable and showing your flaws can often happen more naturally, as you get to know someone. Sometimes we have our guard up in the beginning, or we try to put on a facade so that the other person thinks we're great and perfect. And if I sat here trying to be Little Miss Perfect Robot, most of you probably wouldn't like me. And I get it. And I'm going to share this info with you because I thought this was really interesting. It says, according to the Pratfall effect, people will like you more after you make a mistake, but only if they believe you are a competent person. Revealing that you aren't perfect makes you more relatable and vulnerable toward the people around you. Researcher Elliot Aronson at the University of Texas, Austin, first discovered this phenomenon when he studied how simple mistakes can affect perceived attraction. He asked male students from the University of Minnesota to listen to tape recordings of people taking a quiz. When people did well on the quiz but spilled coffee at the end of the interview, the students rated them higher on likability than when they did well on the quiz and didn't spill coffee or didn't do well on the quiz and spilled coffee. Really interesting. Why? Because we love relatability. Think about when you're in a conversation with someone and you find something in common and then you're able to talk about that. When you can relate to them about something, it makes it easier to talk to them and you feel more of a connection. And trying to be perfect or acting super zipped up and having your guard up often doesn't get you to that point. So don't be afraid to be authentic and show a little bit more of yourself. I promise it normally comes across really well. And even if we take the attraction aspect completely out of it, I believe that these are just things that will make you feel more confident in your social situations and your social skills. Because as I mentioned earlier in the video, these are things that a lot of us have to actively work on and practice, and that's okay. There's no shame in that. We all have strengths and weaknesses. Some of us are just better at this and it comes more naturally. Others have to practice a bit more, and that's okay. We've all got to start somewhere. So guys, if you liked this video or found it helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to be in the loop for when I release new content. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Courtney Christine Ryan. I love connecting with all of you guys over on there as well. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.